Speaking of Apollo 11, the 2019 S-Proof Apollo 11 half and Kennedy $half set for $249.95.
You know, I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna put it up here.
Okay.
Because you get both.
You get both coins.
So the United States government decided to honor Apollo 11, as they should. Okay, as they should.
Okay.
So they did a silver dollar, which I think we're currently sold out of. They did a commemorative $half, which we have right here, and I'm talking about certified, which I think we're currently sold out of. They did a 5-ounce piece, okay? Wow. 5 ounces of silver. If you go to hsn.com, I may have a few of those remaining. They did a 5-ounce silver, and then they also did a $5 gold in proof and uncirculated. And everybody's really excited and gotten all jazzed up about all of that. And then they decide they're gonna do this little $half set. And see where it says $half set. So Apollo 11, 50th anniversary, they did the 50th anniversary, and they did the $half set. Now here's what we assumed they would do. We assumed they did a curved $half just like they did the baseball coin, and they did it in proof and uncirculated, okay? And so we assumed the $half set would be the proof $half and the uncirculated $half. Boy, were we wrong. They decided to do the proof $half and then a Kennedy $half. Because Kennedy, of course, was the president that sent us to the moon. He was the one that challenged us. We do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Yes.
You know, why do why do we climb the highest mountain?
Right.
And as he gave this speech in 1962 at Rice University, he says, why do we climb the highest mountain? Why does Rice play Texas in football?
If it was easy.
If it was easy,
everybody would do it.
We do it not because it's easy, because it's hard. We do these things and we do other things because it defines us, in essence, as a nation. So they did a Kennedy $half, which was all good and well. Until we realized that the Kennedy $half wasn't just any Kennedy $half.
Yeah.
It was, remember when I sold some reverse proof coins? And then we had some enhanced uncirculated coins?
Yeah, some of those.
In the very first time in the history of the United States government, they did an enhanced reverse proof.
Oh, look at that.
It is a dual finish coin.
Is that the only one?
It is the first dual finish coin in the history of the United States Mint. You're looking at it right here. And I have got it. It is only the second coin that I have ever been able to put, that I've ever put into the PSS, the Premier Special Select Series.
Does that say 70?
It is 70, certified absolutely perfect. Now, the one thing I can tell you is in this set, getting a 70 in the Kennedy $half is exceedingly difficult.
We should have had the 70 in the top line. So
should have had 70, yeah, I guess so, yeah, precisely. Because this is certified. The coin you get, the Kennedy, the dual finish Kennedy, the only enhanced reverse proof coin, $half, penny, nickel, dime, quarter, $half, $2, $5, $10, $20, $50 gold piece ever made by the United States government is this coin right here. Then I did 50,000 of these sets. They sold out like that, they're gone.
They're gone.
They've already gone up, doubled, tripled in price, the uncertified, ungraded ones, and I can tell you, I've got dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of these coins that were issued with scratches on them. I mean, they're just awful because of this right here. See this field that goes around? That's the enhanced uncirculated part. The reverse proof is this part. This thing right here.
Maybe because they never did it before.
They've never done it before. They just did not take any care in it. There is a bunch of bad coins out there. So to get the proof 70 in the enhanced reverse proof, the only dual finish coin in the history of the United States Mint. Now you take a look at this. So by the time you look at this coin in terms of complete and abject rarity, okay? Complete and abject rarity. I'm sorry, they did 100,000 of these sets, which were complete and total instant sellouts from the United States government. And so it makes it, in essence, the rarest Kennedy $half that they've had out there, with the exception of the matte finish Kennedy that they did by finish that they've ever done in the history of the United States Mint. And from a process, the only reverse proof enhanced uncirculated coin ever done by the United States government. Now this coin in PSS is 100% exclusive to me. You cannot buy this anyplace else except from me, the PSS coin, the Premier Select Series. So you have the 4 major grading companies. You've got Annex, you've got ICG, you've got NGC, and you've got PCGS. We have got exclusive labels with each and every one of those because I like that. I want to go old school. I want to make sure that I can give you the best possible price. And when I have exclusivity in terms of a label, then I know exactly how many there are. So when I give you mintage figures, when I give you population figures, when I tell you how many of these coins exist, it is an actual number that I know absolutely positively because I control the entire thing. And so when I do that is I can give you that guaranteed collectability. Now here's the thing, not only do you get the Kennedy, which is the key coin to this, there we go, we got another,
another little
thing.
Appreciation.
You're gonna see it comes in the presentation box that you're going to have right here. Isn't this spectacular, beautiful presentation box that you're going to have in the PSS. I'm also going to give you the original government packaging and the $50. Okay, the $50 is about $49.95 by itself and that original packaging that you see right there. So you get all of that as well, along with, now this is the coin that's the value of the whole thing, just getting this coin right here. That in special reversed, reverse proof enhanced uncirculated.
Well, getting it in perfect condition is the big deal.
And perfect condition, that's the key.
That's the big deal.
100% exclusive to me. Now the PSS label, like I said, is our key date label. So we only put coins in there that we consider to be absolutely 100% key, that are 100% key to the collectible series. Well, you have the only enhanced, the United States government has made billions and billions and billions, likely trillions of coins over the course of the history, the 227 years, I guess, of the United States Mint. They have made one dual finish coin, whether it be, reverse proof, reverse proof, whatever, but this is
never
enhanced
dual finish.
Reverse proof, all in the same finish, and it was exclusive to the set. You could only get it in this set. You could only get it in this set, and that set was a 100% sellout from the United States government almost instantaneously, not quite. It actually took a couple of days because people didn't realize, and now they're starting to. One of the most popular sets out there, probably by far the most popular set from the Apollo 11. So you have all that compendium of Apollo 11 things. This is the key collectible from Apollo 11. It's either this or the rocket ship, which if we have any more of the rocket ships, I think we're gonna show you, spend a minute or two at the end of the show to be able to show you that as well, the rocket ship Kennedy with that as well. So in terms of this, it is not only the only dual finish Kennedy $50, it's the only dual finish enhanced uncirculated or enhanced reverse proof coin done in any denomination in the history of the United States government, and they happen to do it in one of the most endearing, most collectible, and most desirable of all the denominations of coins, which is the Kennedy $50. Now, we put it in our exclusive PSS Premier Select Series holder that you're going to have right here. Of course, has the custom box. You're going to get the original government packaging. Of course, the Kennedy's out of it in here, but you're going to get the $50 in this. Now, this one being the sample, I'm going to pop this open because I want to show you something.
It must be very difficult to strike a curved coin.
Extraordinarily difficult. The United States government has struck 2 curved coins in their history.
The baseball one, right?
The baseball coin was curved.
Because we had that, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
The baseball coin was curved, and then this coin, the Apollo coin, is curved as well. See that? You can really see the curve right there. See, isn't that interesting? So then you have the footprint. Whoops. There's the footprint on the moon. The key to this.
Wow, look at that.
You see what that is? That's Buzz Aldrin's faceplate on his helmet as he stood on the moon. The famous reflection.
It's kind of like his point of view with the dome of
there was a reflection on his mask.
Oh, cool.
On his faceplate, and this is it. It's very famous. That is Neil Armstrong. There's the lunar lander, and there's the American flag. And you can see that's his helmet right there. It says United States of America $50, and there it is curved to be able to give it that look of the faceplate that you're going to have. And so you're going to get that coin as well. Okay, so you're going to get the $50 with that as well. So you get the special curved $50, but you get the Kennedy, and it's certified perfect. I cannot explain to you just how phenomenally difficult that coin is to get perfect because of the enhanced reverse proof. The only dual finish coin, not only Kennedy $50, it is one of the most significant coins ever made by the United States government. I want to say that again. It's very important. It is one of the most significant coins, certainly of the last 50 years.
Because it's the first?
Because it's a first.
Yeah.
And not only that, it is currently a first and an only. The Mint has no intention that I know of making another enhanced reverse-proof coin. They caught us by surprise. They only put it in this set.
Right.
We didn't realize that. The rarity of it is virtually unprecedented. You'd think when they release and start, in essence, a brand new coin, a brand new series, in essence, with enhanced reverse proof, the only one of its kind, a dodo bird of a coin, if you will,
right.
that they would make $1 million or $1.5 million or $2 million, and they'd sell every single one of them. Instead, we're looking at basically 100,000, but not in perfect 70. That's the total universe.
Right. But like they've done a bunch of other coins in that kind of manner of
the one that comes to mind is the 2011 reverse proof 25th anniversary American Silver Eagle. Same thing, same exact mintage. In its highest grade, 70. That's a $1,500 coin.
Wow.
Now there's several reverse proofs. There's 20 reverse proof coins. This is the same mintage, yet unique.